It's here! It's finally here! Yes, folks, the thing I've been waiting for, I am now happy to have. A Snapmaker U1 multi-head printer. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Layered Wisdom. Today I'm going to introduce you to Snappy. That's right, the latest addition to my set of printers, a Snapmaker U1. We're going to talk a little bit about what is this printer, what can it do, what makes it so special, and what are some of the issues that you're going to have when you get one. Let's start with the first thing that makes this printer different. This is a multi-tool head printer. Unlike the printers like the Bamboo A1 and here and my Centauri Carbon, this particular printer has 4 print heads, each of which can independently hold its own filament with its own nozzle, with its own extruder, and can set its own temperature. What this means from a practical standpoint is that you can print up to 4 different filaments, 4 different colors, all at the same time with almost no waste. This is what differentiates this printer from something like the Bamboo series. Yes, the Bamboo series does have the ability to do multicolor. The AMS unit that I have on my A1 can handle 4 colors, and the advanced AMS units, the AMS and AMS2, can actually be chained together such that you can get up to 16 different colors feeding into the printer at the same time. The problem with this system, where you've got multiple colors coming into a single head, is that in order to change colors, the printer has to actually expel the old filament, feed in and load the new filament, and then proceed to go on to print that particular layer in that particular color. So what you end up with 2 issues. First is time. It takes some time for the printer to change filaments. And again, it depends on the system. Whereas with the Snapmaker, the change between filaments is almost instantaneous. Well, really just a couple of seconds. But the second biggest thing is filament waste. Yes, folks, these printers poop. In other words, every time that you change filaments in a head, it has to expel some of this filament and then ends up in this little poop basket that I have over here. The more times you change filaments in a print, the more poop that you're going to have. Sometimes even to the point where printing a complex colored print can actually use up more filament than is in the model itself. With the Snapmaker, you have very little of that. Yes, you do have some from when it first loads a filament, but once a filament is loaded up, you can go ahead and print it, and it will change colors simply by changing the head. Just to give you a direct comparison, let's take a look at this model that I have printed. It's the same model, this nice little blob frog model, that I printed on my Bamboo A1 with 4 colors in the AMS and on the Snapmaker. And if we zoom in here on the A1, you'll see that the amount of the model, the amount of filament in the model was 53 grams. And it needed to have 15 grams for what is called the purge tower. Every time there is a change in filament, the printer prints out some onto what is called the purge tower to make sure that the lines are clean before it starts on the model itself. And so there's 15 grams on that. But take a look at how much filament is purged, how much goes into the poop basket. 83 grams, almost double what the model itself was. Now if we go over here and take a look at what prints on the Snapmaker, again, the model takes a little bit more, and that's just the difference between the 2 printers. And there is also a purge tower here because, again, the idea is when you change filaments, you want to make sure that you have a clean line before you start on the model itself. So again, there's a purge tower, but there is no filament purged. There's no filament purged. So the essence is that if I use the bamboo, I'm going to use 152 grams of filament, where if I use the Snapmaker, I'm only going to use 75 grams of filament. But the real story is in this section right here. Take a look at how long it takes to print. The bamboo, because it has to make 217 filament changes, is going to take 9 hours and 12 minutes to print this model. Because again, every time it changes filaments, it has to purge the old filament, bring in the new filament, set it up, and continue on. Whereas with the Snapmaker, it doesn't have to purge filament. It just simply changes the entire head and continues to print. So in that case, the print is going to only take a little less than 4 hours to finish. There is another advantage in using the Snapmaker as opposed to other systems, and that is the fact that you can actually use different filament types in it. For example, if I want to mix TPU and PETG into a single print, this becomes problematic in something like the bamboo because, for one thing, the bamboo printers do not like to load TPU in their AMS systems. They just simply can't handle it. Whereas here, the Snapmaker handles it quite well. Also, this is both a good and a bad thing. PLA and PETG do not stick together. If you try and print something that's got both PLA and PETG filament in it, those two filaments are not going to stay together. Now, this becomes an advantage if I'm trying to print something where I've got supports in it, because that means that I can print the support in one filament and the part in another filament, and then it makes it very easy to take the supports off because, again, the filaments don't stick together. Here's another example. I printed this set of figures for my granddaughters, who are big K-pop Demon Hunter fans, and these statues require a lot of supports. So to enable that, I actually used PETG in red as the interface layer so that you could break the supports off quite easily. Worked great, except for the fact that this is how much waste I got when I was done with the print. Let's take a look at a couple of other things about this printer. I mentioned the fact that it can change heads, and it also has filament loading. Here, I'm going to put some filament in, and you'll see that it automatically feeds in, and then on the printer itself, I can tell it to load or unload the filament into the particular heads. This can also be done in the software that this printer runs as well. Another disadvantage to this printer that you need to be aware of is the fact that the spools are on the outside. This is similar to the way that they are on the Bamboo AMS Lite that my A1 has, and the way that they are on the Centauri Carbon 2 and some other printers that are in this same category. So again, what does this mean? This means that you should dry your filament, and you're going to have to dry it before you take it out and put it onto this printer to use it. And then when you're done, you probably should take the filament back off and put it into a nice storage bag so it can stay dry. This is great, you say. This is wonderful, Dr. Dan. I'm going to run right out and buy one. Well, here comes the downside. While these are just now becoming available, they run almost $1,000. That's right. This is not a cheap printer. This is not in the neighborhood of like my A1 and my Centauri Carbon. The reality for the Snapmaker is $1,000 is cheap when you look at the cost of other printers that can do multicolor. Here, case in point, Bamboo's newest printer, their H2C with their boron system, can print up to 7 colors at once, but take a look at the price. Again, it's not cheap. I need to mention also, though, that that price includes the AMS2 with drying and the fact that the H2C is an enclosed printer with an active chamber, which means that it can do the high-end filaments. So in conclusion, do I recommend this printer? Absolutely. I have been waiting a long time to get a hold of this one, and I think it's a great printer. Do you want to spend the money on it? Well, that's really up to you. I would say save your ducats and make this the next printer that you purchase, because the reality is this is where the industry is going. Well, thanks again, folks, for tuning here. Yeah, third time's the charm, right? Thanks again, folks, for tuning in here to Layered Wisdom. I really appreciate your taking the time to watch my videos. Please like it and subscribe to the channel for more fun stuff in the future.